Please take your seats and we're going to get started. I think we're missing a couple schools yet, but we really need to get this started. So good morning to everybody. Welcome to this wonderful Young Authors event, and I'm so happy to see so many faces in the audience. My name is Debbie Hunt. I work for the Educational Service, and I'm the administrator of this event. And I just want to thank everybody who participated this year. I mean, I'm just so excited about this. I would like to acknowledge the districts that are here today, so when I say your district name, please give us a clap. Columbia, Elyria, Firelands, Lorain, Midview, North Ridgeville, Brookside or Sheffield Lake, here. St. Jude's. I think we're still waiting for St. Jude's, right? Okay. St. Peter? All right. So most everybody is here, so we will get started. Judging of the Young Authors and Young Illustrator books were done using a rubric that each judge followed to get the scoring outcome. Awards will be given to each nomination and winner this morning. But right now we have our guest author that will do us a presentation. Our guest author is a humorist, writer, and poet, and shows kids how to play with words. He believes that humor is not only a fun way to learn, but an effective way to teach. His best-selling words are Categorical series, which introduces young readers to different types of words through rhyming verses and illustrations of comical cartoon cats, has been compared to the likes of Dr. Seuss. While his books of poetry and puns have been honored alongside the works of Roald Dahl and Shel Silverstein, fondly known as the Word Nerd, let us welcome Mr. Brian P. Cleary.
Hello, everybody. I love how energetic you guys were. That was fantastic. It's great to be here. It's very exciting, and looking out on all this sea of faces that are, probably nobody's looking forward to summer vacation, right? Not the teachers, not the children, anybody? Why don't you clap if you're looking forward to summer vacation? That's one way to get people to clap for you. Yes. Okay, I'm going to start by taking you back in time. This is me when I was a little bit closer to your age. By closer, I mean I was about 5 years old in this picture, and Dr. Seuss was the biggest thing on the planet. Does anyone here have a favorite Dr. Seuss book? Quietly put up your hand, and then when I say one of the titles, put them down if you would, if you know that title. Hop on Pop, Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham. Okay, hands down, great job everybody. Believe it or not, even though I'm like a million years older than you, some of the very first books that I ever read are also some of the very first books that you ever read, because those books were around way back when this guy, this bow tie wearing guy, was a 5-year-old. Now, I had a teacher in 2nd grade, and this teacher was, this was before all of the standardized testing and things like that, and so teachers could just kind of unpack what they were passionate about and teach things, and it was fantastic in a lot of ways. And so when I was in 2nd grade, I had a teacher who really liked this author named Ogden Nash, and I learned a lot about playing with words from this. I went to elementary school in 3 different states. So, and this was in Richfield, Minnesota, and I had a teacher named Sister Editha, who I am still in contact with. We email each other, and this was a poem called The Panther. The panther is like a leopard, except it hasn't been peppered. Should you behold a panther crouch, prepare to say, ouch. Better yet, if called by a panther, don't anther. Now, tell me, was it Firelens over here? Was that the ones that were so spirited? Somebody over here, tell me what you think the author means, the Ogden Nash means when he says the panther's like a leopard, except it hasn't been peppered. Peppered? What do you think? Yeah? It doesn't have spots. Poetry is about comparing things. He's comparing the spots on the animal's body to the spots that if you shook pepper onto a light surface, right? In the middle he says, should you behold a panther crouch, prepare to say, ouch. Why? Panther's crouching in front of you, what's the big deal? I heard there was a Catholic school somewhere in there. Okay. How about the person in the last row with her right hand up in the air and the plaid on? If a panther's crouching in front of you, what's the big deal? Go ahead.
They're going to attack you.
Might be about to attack you or something like that. By the way, no microphone out there? Pretty good, right? That's not a bad outdoor voice. Very good. At the end, he says, better yet, if called by a panther, don't anther. What do you think the author, Ogden Nash, means when he says, better yet, if called by a panther, don't anther? Yes? So make it even simpler than that. What English word do you think he means that sounds a little like anther? If called by a panther, don't anther. What do you think he really means? Good, very good. So you're right. If called by a panther, why doesn't he just say, if called by a panther, don't answer? Why does he say anther? Yes, third row, yeah. Okay, so he wants to rhyme it. So here, what I learned when I was in second grade is that our language doesn't come to us completely whole, like some fine crystal vase, and all we can do is drop it and break it. It comes to us more like silly putty or Play-Doh or clay or something that we can stretch and pull on. And here he's changing the pronunciation of that, and that stuck with me, that our language was something that we could participate in, that I could maybe change in some ways, which I thought was really neat. Shel Silverstein, okay, that was mentioned in the sort of little write-up about me in the beginning. Shel Silverstein was an influence on me in one sense. Now, if I were a dozen years younger, I would have grown up with Shel Silverstein, the children's poet. But I didn't really. I learned about Shel Silverstein, the children's poet, from my youngest brothers and sisters. I'm one of 9 kids. So my parents had 9 children: Mary, Michael, Brian, Kevin, Ann, Lizzie, Maggie, Owen, Danny. Okay? And we, the youngest people in the family, grew up reading Shel Silverstein. But I was like 20 when they were 8 or 9, you know. But when I was, any 5th graders here? 5th graders? When I was your age, Shel Silverstein wrote several big hits for the radio, like A Boy Named Sue for Johnny Cash, The Unicorn, Sylvia's Mother. So he was a writer of songs when I was a kid. So he was an influence in that regard. And then I came to understand his children's poetry when I was reading to my younger siblings. This one, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, you look like you might have driven here. Are you a teacher? Yes. Okay. How old are your kids about?
Well, I have 3rd and 4th graders here.
Okay. Do you want to pick a 4th grader who will not be afraid to come up here and speak into a microphone? No? Okay. Can I see another teacher? Or you look like you might be a teacher. Okay. Do you want to pick somebody who might want to come up here and read into a microphone? You can come a long way or you can hop up here. I'm not really particular. Now, you speak Russian, right? I'm just kidding you. You don't speak Russian. Okay. You're going to hold this about this far away from your mouth. Okay. Look right up there. Okay. And you read those first 2 lines, and then I'm going to keep feeding you lines after that. Okay.
I tripped on my shoelace, and I fell up. Up to the rooftops, up over the town, up past the treetops, up over the mountains, up where the colors blend into the sounds. But it got me so dizzy, when I looked around, I got sick to my stomach, and I threw down.
Very good. How about a round of applause? Great job. Very nice. I tripped on my shoelace and I fell up, he writes. Okay? And so Shel Silverstein is establishing early on that the universe that he's created there is not the regular one that you and I are in. He tripped on his shoelace and he fell up. So it's provocative, it's interesting, makes you wonder about stuff, right? And one of the components of humor is being surprised by something. How did he surprise us at the end? Anybody? I feel like I'm ignoring the people in the cheap seats, and you guys are just as valuable. Last row, right hand in the air, way, way, way up there. Can you scream it? Yep. So I got sick to my stomach and I threw down was a surprise because you thought he was going to say, I got sick to my stomach and I threw. Very good. Okay. So, but take a look at this. Look at, you see this where it says the O-U-N sound in around, O-U-N sound in sounds, O-U-N in mountain, O-W-N makes the same thing in town, right? All of those things are telling us where we're going with this. I got sick to my stomach and I threw down, but it's still surprising because we have this idiom. We say, oh, I was sick the other day and I threw up. You know, the truth is you probably threw down more than you threw up, right? Unless you were laying on your back at the time that you got sick to your stomach. In which case, probably language isn't the biggest problem that you have, right? So, okay, let me see, can I see teachers from way over there? Can you wave to me, teacher, if you're way up there? Fantastic. Do you have somebody up there that if you had to send them to college tomorrow, you'd be able to say, oh, that person I'd send that person to college. Can you send me one person down here to read into a microphone? Something that they've never seen before? Okay. You've already committed an act of bravery by coming down here, so that's good. Okay? You're signing up for something you have no idea what you're doing. This is why I love kids your age. Because somebody my age will go, no, I got to know all about it. Are there benefits? You know, no. So this is E.E. Cummings. And when I was in 4th grade, I had a teacher who really liked E.E. Cummings. E.E. Cummings was a really smart guy. His dad taught at Harvard. He was an intellect. He was a thinker, a poet. You know, and he wrote a book when he was like 23 that made him kind of famous. Okay? Now, he doesn't use punctuation the way you and I use punctuation, okay? So I'm going to have you take a run through reading this thing that doesn't use punctuation the way we do, and then I'll have you do it, and then we'll go from there, and I'll send you back to your seats. Does that sound good? Deal? Okay. How about you? All right. Are you in? Okay. You're going to speak into this guy. You're going to use a pretty good outdoor voice, and you're going to look up there. Sound good?
Beautiful is the unmeaning of silently falling. Very, where's now?
Okay, very good. How about a round of applause? Great job. Take another run at it.
Beautiful is the unmeaning of silently falling. Very, here's now.
Okay, very good. How about a round of applause? Good job. Okay, so this is what, if anyone's worried about what it's going to be like in college, this is what it's like in college. Because you're going to look at something and you're not sure and you interpret it. There's like 8 right answers for it because they don't want to hurt your self-esteem or anything like that. So there's a whole bunch of right answers for this. So what is this a poem? First of all, I'm going to read the poem the way he intended, and it is simply this. Beautiful is the unmeaning of silently falling everywhere snow. Okay? And I've been in 500 schools across, you know, the 42 states and parts of Europe, and only one time did a student ever all the way go through there. And she even said, it looks like beautiful is like the cloud, and the things that are coming down are like snow. And I thought, yeah, I saw that too. You know, so every once in a while, you know, you learn something about something you've been talking about for a long time. Anyway, what do you think this is a poem about? What's the subject of it? Is it about baseball? Probably not. Gardening? Nah. What do you think it's about? Yep. Okay, beauty is a topic, right? Right? And particularly he's talking about the snow, right? What else? Yeah, it's about snow. Very good. I've been ignoring this group in the middle for no good reason. Way up in the middle there. Anybody up there? Last row, right hand in the air. Yeah, there you go. Can you yell it? It's about snow, it's about beauty. What else? Not sure? Sometimes it just chases right out of your head. Yep. Left hand in the air. Yep.
Beauty doesn't always stand out.
Okay, beauty doesn't always stand out. Interesting. Okay. What is the two-syllable word that has to do with outdoor stuff like clouds and rain and mountains and streams and woods and stuff like that? Begins with an N. Nature. Is it about nature? Yeah, why not, right? Why in this poem that's about snow and nature and beauty are there not an equal amount of letters on every single line? Why is there 3 on one line? Why is there 5 on another? Why is there 2 on another one there? Yeah. Well, he does use punctuation, but he doesn't use it the way you and I do, right? But why doesn't he have an exact 5 or 6 or 4 letters on every single line in this poem that's about nature and beauty? It makes it unique. What else? Yes? Nature's different. I like that idea. So nature's different, and it's unique, right? And so why did he write a poem about snow in which the words come down on the page? If you and I wrote a poem about snow, we'd start in the upper left-hand corner, right? Bum, 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 right? Why is it that it's falling like that? The middle section there, 2 people in from the edge, person pointing at himself like that with the thumb. Yes. Yep, turning around. Yes. He wanted to make it look like snow. I like both those answers because that is the same thing. You're right. He wants to make it look like snow. And because it's nature, there's not an even amount there, right? So this is exactly, when I've taught this poem at college level, these are exactly the questions I ask. And so you guys are answering college level questions, and I think you should give yourselves a round of applause. Great job. Now, all of these people were influences. Who can real quickly tell me what an influence is? If I say they're an influence on me. Second row, right hand in the air, yes. So somebody made a lasting imprint. I really like that. Interesting. So sometimes it's a role model, sometimes it's a teacher or whatever, somebody you look up to, right? So when I was, anybody here 10 years old? All right, when I was 9, 10, 11 years old, the most famous athlete in the world was Muhammad Ali. It would be like today if you took the most popular baseball, basketball, football, and rolled them all into one person. He was that popular. He was the most popular athlete in the world. He could go anywhere, and everyone knew who he was. And he wrote rhyming poetry. So that was an influence on me. He would say, you may talk about London, you may talk about Rome, but Rockville centers Floyd Patterson's home. A lot of people said that Floyd couldn't fight, but they should have seen him on his comeback night. Now, if you do what I do, which is try to make things rhyme, there's something about that bounce and that rhythm, and he had it absolutely perfect. And that was an influence on me. The Beatles, the biggest thing in the whole world, okay, the biggest band in the whole world broke up when I was around 10 years old. And if they had things in there that sounded like poetry, who knows how long I've loved you, you know I love you still. Will I wait a lonely lifetime? If you want me to, I will. Like that sounds like a beautiful poem from the 15th century, but it's a Beatles song, right? So those were all influences, just like Shel Silverstein, just like Ogden Nash. And now you're going to see a little bit of what I did as a result of being influenced by all those people. This is a book called My Cat Bites. This is a poem called My Cat Bites, and it's about a cat who spends all day on the internet. Some cats like to prowl, and some even growl, while others would rather take naps, but my Mrs. Mittens, an internet kitten, is fonder of laptops than laps. Unlike other cats, this one downloads and chats and is constantly checking her email. An ad she has posted has recently boasted she's a young single Siamese female with paws soft and quick. She'll type and she'll click. Do some research or maybe some shopping. She bookmarks news sites. She surfs and she writes, or she'll scan in some photos for swapping. It's simply absurd. She's an internet nerd who ignores all the rest of the house. What cat would admit it would ever see fit to enjoy so much time with a mouse? What do you call that at the very end, the little joke there? There's a 3-letter word for when words have 2 meanings and you're making like a little word joke. Blonde hair, right hand in the air, back there, yep. So, right, and so what is the like literary word for when you make a little 2-meaning joke like that? A pun, very good. So the pun is like, you know, do you get that this has 1 meaning over here and 1 meaning over there, right? And you recognize that. And people tend to recognize that when they're about 8 years old or so. And you could show that to a 5-year-old, and even though they might understand that that's a mouse and that this is a mouse, there's something kind of developmental when you kind of get that and decode that. And that was something that I always enjoyed when I was a kid. I wrote a book called Rhyme and Punishment that has a bunch of these. And this one here is all animal puns. And this one says, my sister Mary travels some to Philly, Frankfurt, Rome, and though she's never gone for long, it's nice when Mare comes home. Who sees one of the little jokes I've made in there? Okay? Which one do you see?
I can see Mare as both a nickname and
Mare, short for Mary.
a nightmare.
Okay, oh, in this case, it's mare as in an animal, though. Do you know what a mare, do you know what an animal, a type of animal a mare is? No, okay. It's a type of horse, and I think you're right about it being a female horse. How about Philly? Does anyone know the little double meaning there? I say, my sister Mary travels some to Philly, Frankfurt, Rome. I see an arm going like that, like a windshield wiper. Yeah. So Philly is short for what city in Pennsylvania? I went to Philly for the weekend. Right, so Philadelphia. And what is Philly in the animal world? Anybody? So it's a horse. Very good. Okay. And I go for stays at Grandpa's house. We'll fish and yak till dawn. My fishing isn't bad, he says, but Lord, my herring's gone. Why don't you give me one of those puns there? Yeah. Yeah. Right, and it sounds a little like hearing, right? Okay. And what else do you see there? What other pun do you see? Yeah. I go for. There's the burrowing animal, right? Very good. And wolf sounds a little like the wheel sound when you have an F behind it. Wolfish sounds a little like what? If I say wolfish, it sounds like what other 2 words? Exactly. I had to put a word after wolf that began with an F, so you created that slur. Wolf begins or ends with an F. Fish begins with, let's see, wish, you know. And yak, double meaning there, is just talk versus the animal, right? My grandma wears a 2-foot wig that's held on with a pin, but if you think her hair is big, you oughter see her chin. I didn't say these were good. Yeah. Yes. Ape sounds like a pin. So from a phonics standpoint, ape ends with a p sound, right? Pin begins with 1, so I got you to say that. And who can read, like in regular old English, what you think I want you to hear in that 4th line? Can you do that?
If your hair is big, you
Ought to.
other see urchin, but it sounds like you other see her chin.
You ought to see her chin, right? Okay, very good. And so those are all puns, meaning they have those double meanings, right? And they were influenced by lots of writers who went before me. Although she's funny looking, she's dear as she can be. When once I asked her for some dough, she gave $1 to me. Okay, 2 hands doing that, yep. Can you yell it? Exactly, doe referring to money, buck as in a dollar, and then deer as could be sweet and kind, or the animal deer, but it's spelled differently, right? Very good. Okay, I eat the same lunch every day. I won't try something new. A ham on rhino pickle and a pair of Twinkies too. Exactly, GNU sounds just like NEW or KNEW, right? So from a sound standpoint, right? And then GNU is like a four-legged mammal kind of thing, right? And what do you see? Does anyone else see one maybe in line 3? The person way, way, way up top there on that side, yep, yep. Yep. So, rhino, and it's a ham on rye, no pickle, very good. And what about this guy right here? What do we see in there? Yes? Right, now, parrot doesn't sound that much like pair of, so I had to put a word after it that began with T, so you'd say pair of Twinkies too, because it sounds, when you kind of grab that bump from the end sound to the beginning sound of the next thing, it kind of creates that. But yes, that is, you guys did a great job of decoding that. I have a bunch of stuff on brianpcleary.com, and what I thought I would do is, I have enough time, I think, to take one question from a couple schools. Is that right? Okay. I'm going to sort of not go so much by school, but by these, like, I would call them quadrants if there were 4 of them, but there are 6, so I don't know what that is. Upper left-hand thing to me up there, can I... if you've got a question, you can put your hand up, and I will, okay, the person in the last row, right hand in the air, and the person behind, next to him is doing that. Yes? Yep? Yell it. How do they come to my brain? Okay, well, I use a rhyming dictionary. My mother bought me a rhyming dictionary when I was about 10 or something like that. I use an online one too. I also I'm curious about words anyway, and so I am often thinking of words that rhyme with whatever a new word I've learned is or something like that. Okay, great question. You guys right here, there you go. Right smack in the middle, right hand in the air. Could you stand up? Person pointing at, yes, go ahead. So you saw when I talked about my influences, okay? So I liked, the Beatles and Shel Silverstein and Muhammad Ali and Dr. Seuss and all that sort of thing. So I had a lot of people went before me who did similar things that I enjoyed, and there was like a path for that for me. And I knew that when I was 10 years old, I was practicing my autograph. I knew that I was going to be doing this when I was very young. And when I got to be old enough, I just put it out there in the world, and then it happened, okay? Way up there, I'm going to go with the last row over here. Somebody's got their right hand, now their left hand in the air, trying to trick me. Now looking behind. Okay, go ahead, you can stand up and ask. Yep, person doing this. Yep. Why do I write my books? Okay. I've asked myself that several times. Well, interesting. I write lots of different kinds of things. Let me start with that. I have put words in the mouths of Michael Bolton, Dolly Parton, Shaquille O'Neal, a whole bunch of other people. I'm very fortunate to be a professional writer, even outside of writing books. When I was in my early 30s, I had little people in the house. I had like a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and a baby on the way kind of thing. So I was reading children's books a lot more often at those ages than I had in many years, which makes sense, right? And since they rhymed, and since they had to do with printing and paper and artwork and things that I was comfortable with because of my long career in American Greetings, I made that jump into children's publishing from there. Good question. Okay, we're going to go this way. How about that person who's doing that? Yep.
What age did you start writing?
I was about 10 years old when I started writing. I am 63 now. I read at a 64-year-old level, so technically gifted. So I was in fourth grade when I basically started, I think, seeing the world as a writer. Yeah. Okay. And right in here, somebody I haven't called on at all. 2 hands in the air, right there. Okay. Yep. Yep. There you go. There you go. Yep. If you could stand up.
Would you even compare yourself to Dr. Seuss at any level?
Would I compare myself to Dr. Seuss at any level? Now remember, comparison, I could say something like, Brian is nowhere near as good as Dr. Seuss, and I would be comparing myself to him, right? It doesn't mean I'm comparing myself favorably to him. I've sold 3 million books. My understanding is he's sold many, many more than that. And he's also older than me. I have to say, he got a way big head start on me. Okay, he was doing this in the 50s. I was born in 1959. Okay, so I would say that the world embraces Dr. Seuss in a way that it might not yet for me. But you know, once I'm dead for 20 or 30 years, you don't know what's going to happen. Okay. Last question here. I've got somebody with glasses and her left hand in the air. So, as I mentioned before, my role models were those influences and things like that, right? The people that I've read their stuff and they made me want to write as a result of that. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? I have time for one more question. It's going to be that person there who just pointed at. Yep. There you go. Last question.
Have you ever felt like you should give up or anything? Like you were on like a low kind of point?
Are you suggesting maybe I should give up? Because I'm okay with that.
Like no.
I actually respect that.
I mean, like if you ever like felt like you wouldn't be able to do this, like.
No, you know you're a writer when you write something and you look at it and think that nothing has ever been more disgusting than what you just wrote. It's terrible. I mean, I've called people and said, I'm working on the worst book I've ever worked on in my life. And they go, you always say that, you know? And so that's kind of common. But having lived through that, though, having gone through that, and then you look at it and go, hey, maybe it's the 3rd worst thing in the world or something like that. Maybe it's not that bad. And then you make a couple tweaks and maybe it's the 5th worst thing in the world. So I think once you kind of live through that, it helps you because you know you've been there before, you know? But all good questions. I'm going to turn things back over here to Mrs. Hunt. Thank you all very much. Great questions, great answers.
Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you, Brian. So right now we're going to give away the awards for the nominees for Best Writers and give out the actual award for the Best Writer in each grade level. So when your name is called, please come up on the stage. You can either come up that way or that way and stand up here on this orange line, and then we will announce the winner when everybody is up here. We're going to start with grade 3. So our MC for that is Mark Millar. He works at the ESC with me, and I think some of you might know him.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's nice to be here. Just a little side note, Mr. Cleary and I have known each other for 35 years, I think. He was my neighbor. He literally lived right across the street from me. Literally, it's like looking from here to there. And we used to throw stones at our houses. No, we didn't do that. Just kidding. So today, as Mrs. Hunt said, we're going to be announcing the winners. So when I call your name, first off, let's say that I'm going to hopefully pronounce them all correctly. If I make them wrong, I apologize, but we'll do the best we can. We're going to start with 3rd graders, and we're going to call you up, and then we're going to read a short little synopsis of the story, and then announce the winners, and then we'll call it the 4th grade, the 5th grade, and finally the 6th grade. Before I go any further, though, I will tell you this. The writing was tremendous. It really, really was, and it was very hard. We read a lot of books, and we got the best of the best to come to us, and we had to read the books, and there was a rubric that we filled out, and from that rubric we found the best books. But if I would tell you this, and very, very honestly, everybody, boys and girls, if you were a writer of a book here and you did that, you did a wonderful job. And it was very, very compelling and a great read for all of us. We were so entertained by your book. So I think you should, whether you win or lose is not the important thing. The important thing is that you tried to do something and created something. And that's what you should be proud of, and that's what you should continue to do. Always try to get a little bit more out of yourselves, because you did great with this. This is wonderful. I had the best time reading. I read 5th grade books, and then I finally got to read all the books that were the top books. But they were wonderful. So, again, nice job. And we're going to start with our 3rd grade. We reviewed at the very final 7 books. So I'm going to call your name. From Columbia, Dimitri Jayant, who wrote The Young Traveler. From Elyria, Lillian Noller, who wrote Kelly and Haley. From Ireland, Zoe Schuster, who wrote The Magical Journey. From Lorain, Joshua Pierce, who wrote All About Josh. From Midview, Layla Franklin, who wrote Rainbow Land. From North Ridgeville, Chesley Cormack, who wrote The Lonely Pine. And from St. Peter, Lorain, Joshua Johnson, who wrote For I Knew the Mysterious Planet. And we'll wait for everyone to come up, and then we'll let you know who won 3rd grade. Okay, so the 3rd grade story that our judges found to be a wonderful and touching read is the story of how, if one is given the chance, can change the lives of all those around them. This is a story which shows how through kindness and resourceful communication, we affect and effect our environment and can create a better community. Our 3rd grade Young Authors winner is from Jennifer Detmar's 3rd grade class in North Ridgeville, The Lonely Pine, Chesley Cormack. So let's give them a good round of applause. Better than Mr. Cleary. There you go. Okay, boys and girls, can you go back to your seats? Nice job. Nice job. Okay, that was exciting. Okay, well, guess what? We got 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to go. Okay, in 4th grade, we had 9 books to review. Okay, and they were from Columbia, Ishita Agarwal, who wrote How Crows Got Their Black Feathers. And by the way, some of the titles were just so really cool. I really love them. From Elyria, Lexus Hayes, who wrote My Volleyball Career. From Firelands, Allison Pelfrey, who wrote Lovely Sunny Skies. From Lorain, Mackenzie Jones, who wrote The Accident. From Midview, Maya Atkins, who wrote The Spirit Box. From North Ridgeville, Elliot Gianfrido, who wrote The Story of a Witch. From Sheffield Lake, Sophia Martin, who wrote My Diabetic Journey. From St. Jude's, Elyria, Madeline Parabeck, who wrote Wolf Team. And finally, from St. Peter, Lorain, Camille Mahone, who wrote The Lesson. Okay, so our fourth grade winning book is a story really about life and the ups and downs and the bumps in the road and the good and the bad that happen in one's life, and about the resilience, the attitude one needs to have when faced with an illness. This book is such a story. This is the author's story of how when she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, she and her family, school, friends, reacted, dealt, and supported her diagnosis. The book invites the reader to understand the importance of attitude and how love and support from individual support groups such as family, friends, school, and just as importantly, the medical profession can provide inspiration to get through difficult and trying times. A beautiful story of how a positive mindset and outlook can alter something negative. From Bridget Musso's fourth grade class, our winner is Sophia Martin, My Diabetic Journey. And we're going to get a picture with everybody. Sophia, stay up here, Sophia. Come on back. Come on back. We're going to get a picture with everybody. Smile. Big cheese smile and say cheese. Okay. Fourth graders, please go back. Nice job, fourth grade. Nice job. Thanks, Jim. All right, we're on to fifth grade. And again, we had 9 books in fifth grade to read, and they were just wonderful. I'm going to read their names here. So from Columbia, Gemma Crow, who wrote My Year of Now and Never or Never. From Elyria, Zach Bickley, who wrote Wasteland, the Last One. From Firelands, Samuel Stevens, who wrote Bewitched. From Lorain, Hannah Wohlfelder, who wrote Violin Sorrow. From Midview, Brooklyn Shees, who wrote Priya, The Butterfly Visits Cuba. From North Ridgeville, Hazel Marinar, who wrote The World of Embaria. From Sheffield Lake, Addison Schwartz, who wrote The Future is Gray. From St. Jude's in Elyria, Mary Nagrant, who wrote Eve Evans in the Contest. And finally, from St. Peter's, Lorain, Layla Allen, who wrote The Winter. So this is really interesting. This, I don't think this has ever happened. It's rarely happened if it has. And I've been doing this for 8 years now, and I've never seen this happen. We actually had 2 winners in 5th grade. So so we're going to announce 2 winners. We've never had that happen before, but the writing was so just beautiful and really interesting, and met all the rubrics of points on there that we said we have to choose 2 here because they're so good, and they're very different books. Okay, so our first winner winning book is about family, friendship, UFOs, and how when we are given the chance and opportunity as human beings, we can show the best side of ourselves to our friends and even aliens from another part of the universe. My year of Now or Never is such a story. It was extremely entertaining and captivating read from Jen Shively's class in Columbia Station, Gemma Crow. Gemma, raise your hand real quick. There's Gemma. The other story is completely different and is quite different. It calls for us to see things through different eyes, someone else's eyes, and not necessarily a human being's eyes, although we do come into play here. The author wrote a story to bring animal cruelty to our immediate attention and remind each and every one of us our responsibilities of how to treat our little four-legged friends, as well as our friends in the water and the air. And we just have to have like sensitive eyes towards our animals and how we treat them. And so Addison Schwartz, who wrote The Future is Gray from Visual Research class, wrote that. It is a beautiful book. So we have two winners. We have Gemma Crow and Addison Schwartz. So nice job and beautiful book, everybody. And we're going to get a picture with Mr. Cleary. Look right ahead, straight ahead, everybody. Look ahead and smile. All right, let's give him a hand again. Nice job, you guys. Nice job. You guys can take your seats. Nice job. And we finally get to our 6th grade and our final grade level that we have. We had 8 books here that we reviewed over at the ESC. And I'm going to read the consensus now. Again, please come up. From Columbia, Lucas Clevenger, who wrote Lost. From Elyria, Sophia Whitfield, who wrote The Fields. From Firelands, Amelia Brancu, who wrote Surrounding Secrets. From Lorain, Delaney Duncan, who wrote Be the Man. From Mibu, Lila Zella, who wrote The Days That Changed a Lifetime. From North Ridgeville, Audrey Staskovic, who wrote Olivia and Oscar. From Oberlin, Skylar Reeves, who wrote A New World Awaits, Book 1, Nagast. And from Sheffield Lake, Trista Rowe, who wrote Echo in Time. So our 6th grade Young Authors winner is a book about love and the responsibilities we have to support, care, provide to one's immediate family. In this story, a sister and a brother struggle to survive and provide each other the strength to persevere through tough and ultimately dark times. Compassion, love, and human spirit goes on despite life's struggle is what this book is about. Delaney Duncan's book, Be the Man, is an outstanding story about humanity, resilience, ingenuity, and the sacrifice one makes to survive. From Andy Naylor's class, Delaney Duncan, who wrote Be the Man, is Lorain City Schools. Delaney? Where's Delaney? Come on over here, Delaney. Yeah. These were, honestly, these were just beautiful books. Every one we read was beautiful, and you should all be proud. Let's get a nice picture of Mr. Cleary. Okay, can you take a seat, please? Nice job. Well, that's the first part of this program. The second part is just as important. The writing is always important, but illustration and drawing and artistry is another portion of the books that Mr. Cleary doesn't do any kind of artistry, but his books have a lot of art in it. And so we have another portion of what it takes to be an author is that there has to be the other side, the creative side, to make the pictures. Dave Spencer is here. Come on up. And this is Dave Spencer. I'm going to turn it over to you.
I have to say one thing about Dave first. Oh, this is funny. So our guest illustrator is an illustrator by trade and a pizza enthusiast, but by spirit, and a lover of all things fun and silly by genetics. So let's welcome Dave Spencer one more time.
Am I on? You guys hear me? All right, cool. Good. Okay. It works. Awesome. Okay. Hi guys, my name is David Spencer. Talking way too loud, I apologize. Okay, so I am an illustrator, which means basically I just draw. I draw for a living. I draw all the time. It's super fun, but I mainly do children's books, and I do a lot of children's illustration, and I've drawn my whole life of just anything I think is really fun. My favorite thing is just sitting down with a piece of paper and figuring out what that's going to be. It's basically like a math problem, being like, okay, I think this would be really fun to draw. I wonder what that looks like. I never know what I'm going to draw when I sit down, and that's my favorite part. It's like, what does this picture look like to me? And it usually ends up being like a little sillier, just by the way I kind of draw and the way I kind of think. It's usually like, what about this? What about this? What about that? What about this? It's super fun, and I like the way that it kind of works out. I've been drawing ever since I was a little kid. I probably started when I was, 4 or 5. Whenever I saw a piece of paper and then saw something I thought was really cool, I decided to start drawing it. I started with Spider-Man and Batman and tanks and anything cool that I was just like, oh, that's really rad to draw. And it's always been that way, and it's still that way. And even when I'm 42 right now, I still see something really cool. I still get excited when I see a transformer turn into a car. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a Porsche now. So it's been always really fun. Like I said, I took a lot of long road trips when I was a kid, and it was so boring. So I basically had a clipboard and a piece of paper, and would just draw and draw and draw. And I made like stacks of comics that I would make, and they were really, really fun to make. And it all started with like inspiration. What are my favorite things? My favorite things are the movie Ghostbusters. It's the best movie, in my opinion, of all time. So I go like, what does Ghostbusters mean to me? Ghostbusters means putting a backpack on, grabbing your mom's vacuum cleaner, going down the basement, and busting ghosts, okay? And bring your other 3 friends, because then you can make the quad, okay? And then so I go like, that's what it means to me, absolutely. What does Star Wars mean to me? Star Wars means Darth Vader hanging out with R2-D2, and he's got his Death Star golf ball, and they go golfing together. It's these 3 hanging out together, Han, Leia, and Chewbacca. They're sitting just kind of looking at the moon, having a moment together. I like to kind of just like, however I'm feeling at the time, oh, this would be a cute story. This would be a fun little story to tell. Like, these 2 obviously don't like each other, but they're having a day together, and it's like fun to kind of think about them do that, and him using him as a caddy, which is kind of mean, really. So I love comic books, like I said. When I think about like what I want them to look like, I like to think about Wonder Woman just going out like she looks like she just beat up everybody. She just took down all the villains. This is Batman dangerously close to the edge of a building, but that's what Batman does. He's got it. He's good. Another thing is I love. It's always cool to have like a therapy drawing, something you can kind of start with. Something you go like, oh, like I don't know what to draw right now. What am I going to draw? And mine is always Batman. Like it's easy for me to draw him. You can always make him look kind of cool. You don't have to draw all of his body. You can put his like cape in front of him. I forgot I had this on. And then just draw other cool characters. Like what does my Deadpool look like? Oh, my Deadpool looks like eating a chimichanga on top of a pile of Marvel villains. Or Marvel stuff. What does my Hulk look like? Oh, it's him walking through Brooklyn with a street sign that he ripped out, patrolling the city with Spider-Man. Again, like playing is like a big part of me drawing. So like these two guys up here, Captain America and Spider-Man, that's two kids playing Spider-Man, Captain America. You grab your silly string and you, by law, have to go like that with the silly string, grabbing a trash can lid and just kind of blocking that. It's super fun to kind of play around with like little characters. Another thing I get to do is I get to, like my favorite thing in the world is dogs. I love dogs. Whenever I see a dog, my mood changes. Pretty much just like I attack that dog with my love and it won't stop. So I get to like donate my art to shelters, which is really cool because I get to basically give back with my art. So it's something that was unexpected, because they need stuff and I'm able to provide that with like, selling stuff and then just doing cool stuff to kind of give back. It's my favorite part about being an artist is being like, what do you need? What can I do for you? And I love drawing animals. Animals are super fun because you can take the basic like dynamics of an animal. Like this doesn't really look like an elephant. This doesn't really look like a bear. That doesn't really look like an owl. But like what you can do is kind of like take the main elements of it. Like I got the trunk. It's kind of a big guy. Obviously he couldn't support himself with this balloon, but you know what? He's living his dream. It's cool. He's just kind of convincing people like, hey, can I get some of that honey? That'd be really cool. So just dress like that. Just kind of telling these little silly stories like while you go along. Another thing that kind of happens like organically, really, is I sit with something for a real long time. Like I'll sit with a drawing for probably like 4 or 5 hours. So while you do that, you kind of create a little narrative in your head. You build a world that you accidentally made. So like this day, I wanted to just draw a scarf. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if I drew a scarf. You guys see over there? So I was like, I'll draw a scarf. And then I was like, oh, I'll put a scarf on a fox. And I was like, you know what? He's got a little space on top of his head. I'll draw a squirrel. And I was like, this squirrel should have a parka on. That should have a hat. What are these guys into? What is their friendship like? Are they mischievous? Do they go out into the forest and they like create things and like maybe get into trouble? Maybe like they have a turtle friend. Maybe they have an elf friend. Where's their favorite spot to hang out at? You kind of like build these stories as you go along. And sometimes it doesn't have to be like a full story, but like if you kind of like make it fun in your head and kind of like play around these characters that you're making, it just makes it really fun. And then especially with like the colors that you create, you're like, what is that? What is that? Like with this style, what does an owl look like in that world with that style in it? And then again, just like creating these little stories, what's this giraffe doing? He's just having a good time. He's just collecting snow with his thing. He's got a long thing. So you think about you wouldn't have fun sitting in cold water, but he would. That's his existence, That's his life. So like, what does that full world look like when a polar bear's in it as opposed to like you being in it? So like he has like more cold fun things that he would do. So you can kind of build the world that way. Another thing people always say is like, I can't draw a straight line. I can't draw. I also can't draw a straight line that well, so what I do is I kind of like work with organic shapes a lot. Like, a train itself would be a very like straight line thing, A lot of people are drafters, they do very straight lines, all that stuff. I'm not good at that. If I did that, it wouldn't look that good. So what I do is I kind of make organic shapes out of things that normally would be like a little more like straight line. Makes it more fun for me. I feel like it comes out a little better with like the style that I have. I kind of conform things to work for me and make them fun for me to draw. Especially like sometimes you have to draw things that like, you're not necessarily good at or don't perceive yourself to be good at. And you kind of like challenge yourself and you go like, oh, I think this would be cool. I think this would be cool. Okay, so my biggest inspiration will always be my kids. You guys don't know this, but you inspire your parents like the moment you arrive on this earth. When I used to draw all the time, like I said, but I didn't have like a purpose. I didn't have like a point of like where it would all go. When I had my son, I was just like, oh, I want to make a children's book. This sounds perfect. And I just kind of funneled that. I was like, why wouldn't I take the thing that I love and kind of do the thing that I love with them? And then so I was just like, I just funneled it all into that, and it inspired me. It doesn't have to be art. Your parents are probably like, do you want to go to the zoo? Like, yeah. Like, you like this panda? I love this panda. And you do like that whole thing. So you get them excited about living and doing new things. You see things in different views that like you normally wouldn't. Like with like a child's eyes, as opposed to like you're like, yeah, I've seen that wall before. It's like, have you seen this wall? It's an awesome wall. So what I took out about parenting, I was just like, what do we do every night? We go to bed every night. We have to go to bed every single night. Bedtime is the end of the day. Everyone's a little tired. Kids don't want to go to sleep yet. You go like, okay, could you like let's figure out what this is. So I basically was like, oh, this my tale that I wanted to tell was basically him being like, I don't want to go to bed. I want to go to space. I want to ride a dinosaur. I want to be a pirate. All this stuff, and then at the end he goes to bed anyway. So this is tale of like what I was feeling at the time, the story I wanted to tell was this whole like adventure, but also like contained in this little mundane moment essentially. So just think about, in your mind right now, think about what inspires you. What is the thing that you love the most right now? I want you to scream that out in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so whatever you guys said, think about that as a story. So like if your favorite thing in the world is mashed potatoes, you go like, okay, mashed potatoes are trying to find their best friend, which is maybe butter or something, and it's just like, let's go together and have a friendship. You just take that thing that you love. What is it, Fortnite? Is it Minecraft? What is it? You bring it and you put it together, you know? Like, and then also try to think creatively outside of the things that you normally would absorb. Just, like if you just do Minecraft stuff and you're like, I like building, what does building mean, you know? Like, deconstruct those ideas. You create really cool stories on it. I mean, like my son shows me his Minecraft builds. They're crazy. I'm just like, what, you built this? He's like, yeah. He's like, this didn't like come with the game? And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, it's so cool. So it's just cool stuff like that. And so I was like to start with characters. Characters are really fun to make. Because they don't have to have a home. They can just be what they are, you know? So I just do like a thing where I'll just draw a new character every day. If I see like a pencil, I'll be like a pencil guy, you know, whatever. But you go like, what's this guy's story? What's this guy's story over here? He's got a heart. What does he want? Love? He's got all these arms. Maybe they're made for hugging. You know, but he's slimy, so maybe nobody wants to hug him. But he's like, I'm a hug monster. Please hug me. What's this turkey on the top? Maybe he was on a quest to fight against Thanksgiving. He's like, I'm not good with cranberry sauce. So you kind of go like that. You just like think of little tales to tell based off these little drawings that don't really have a purpose. You just go like, I like this, I like this. Okay, and so how I would create things is I draw it. I basically just do the ink drawing. I do all that. And then I block out all the colors. I go, this is supposed to be brown. It's going to be green. It's going to be black and white. Okay. And then basically I add the magic. And I add what I can draw, you know? Like it's this whole process is hours of work. But, and then I'll think to myself, like, what's like a detail I can add? So I actually had my son draw a Ghostbusters logo because he was 4 at the time. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if like it looked like a little kid was playing. And he could go in there. So I scanned it in, dropped it in, and I was able to do a lot of that stuff. Same thing, like just here's the start, here's the finish, it's me and my dog, just a fun little like adventurous thing. And then, creating is fun. It requires a lot of practice. I mean, like I'm 42, like I said. It can be difficult, sometimes frustrating. Don't panic, it's fine. You start over. I've started over on a lot of things. Sometimes you can take like the best elements of the thing that you, like, when you have that idea in your head, you put it down, you don't like it. And sometimes just like taking the time to start over can really, really help your creative process. To be like, you know what? I think that this turtle and this owl are a good story, but I don't think the owl is working the way I thought it would. I think it'd be better with a squirrel. Just drop the squirrel. You get a new story, and then you kind of maybe like hit like the backbone of like what you were creating for one month. Okay, so I made a book called The Epic Adventures of Hugging Stick. I made a few books, but this is the one I did with another guy named Drew DeWalt. We work together with a long word that's called collaboration. Basically, that is when 2 people, 2 or more, come together to create something. We use our best attributes. I'm a good illustrator. He's a good writer. Like if you take 2 people, like if you can take your friend and he's a good writer and you're a good illustrator, you can work together to like create something really cool. Like maybe you're really, really good at drawing dogs and your friend has a dog story. You can just kind of create it together. Oh, here's the cool story I thought. And then sometimes you can bounce ideas off of each other. Because maybe it's something the writer wasn't thinking, maybe it's something the illustrator wasn't thinking. It really creates this whole process. Like he basically just let me run with it, and it was great. So basically, you start with just a script. You don't have anything but the script. I don't know what these characters look like. I don't know what the pages are. It's basically just like, here's the entire story. Figure out where the pages go. I go, okay. I have Huggy, who's this grumpy little bunny, and I have Stick, who's just a happy stick. And I was like, what do these characters look like? I sat down at my table and I go, okay, I think I look like this. I was like, I like this the way the sketch looks. It's, it's kind of silly, like his big grumpy bunny, he's got this line across to kind of convey that he's always kind of scowling. And he's just like, everything's awesome. And then you create this character sheets. And you go like, this is what they look like, and they're different like facial expressions and things like that. And same thing, happy, super happy, very, really happy. And you kind of go down the line and go like, that's what they look like this, like that. And then we decide on colors, like they were like, oh, maybe it's not orange, maybe it's a different color. Kind of figure out all these little things. It's like super fun. I also like to sculpt these little sculptures. They give me kind of it's like out of clay, just so I can have like a really good visual on like what they would look like. Helps me to remember details and things. Plus you have a little trophy at the end. Okay, so this is what I was given. This is like a page on it that I was like, I deem this as a page. And it's another great day. This morning we hopped on a train and he made Huggy a new arm. It's even better than his old one if you ask me. And we got on the train, Huggy said he wanted to find his own way home. Then we tripped on the train tracks, but I grabbed him and saved his life. There's a TV reporter there. Now everyone's calling us heroes. We were famous and we got to meet the Queen. Do you know she has a sword? I definitely need to get a sword. Okay, so with that, we're saying a lot of things. We have to say like travel, he gets a new arm, they meet a TV reporter, you know, all these things. So there's like a lot to convey. And I was like, okay, how does that work? Okay, with travel, we take a lot of pictures. So I was like, I'll make a Polaroid. I was like, they get there by train, I'll draw a train. Then I gotta put a train in my thing, and then it looks kind of cool in the background. I can show Huggy with this new spork arm, and then I can show the TV reporter. I was just like, I'll move the Queen to the next page, because that was kind of more focused on the Queen. So she doesn't need to be in this one. And then I was like, oh, I haven't done a night one yet. I'll make it at night. And then I can kind of show a starry sky, because at the time I was reading Steam Train, Dream Train with my son, and I was like, oh, I really like the dreamy, like, train thing. So, and then I can show, like, lights and things like that. So, basically, you just take that and do it 30 more times, and you're getting what? It's just that easy, guys. Yeah, so, and then coming from comics, like, I kind of do a lot of dynamic things. Like, you see the shark, and he's kind of, like, falling into the shark. And at the top, there's like a tire, and they're kind of coming down. Just kind of play with things. So, biggest thing is, just create something. It doesn't matter if no one else likes it. If your favorite thing to do, if favorite thing to draw is llamas, make a llama book. You know, even if everyone is like, you know what, I am opposed to llamas. I do not like llamas. Llamas, you know, if you love llamas, you'll enjoy drawing your llama book. And when you finish, even if it sells one copy and it's to your mom, it doesn't matter. Like, you enjoy drawing your llama book. It's super, super fun. And I very much recommend it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is do some drawing exercises. And it's down. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 animals from the crowd. Bring this up a little bit so it stops whistling around. Sorry. We'll go here. Okay. Oh, not ours. Okay. You right there with the gray shirt waving his hand like that? Platypus. Awesome. Okay. Platypus is kind of an animal together, but that's cool. Green sweatshirt, hoodie. A lion? All right. A platypus lion. All right. This is what we're doing here. We're making a mashup. We're taking jeez. Put it in here. I'm sure you guys would like to say it's nothing right here. We good? Okay. Okay, platypus lion. So what we're doing here is we're basically like breaking your brain to think about characters. Okay? When you think of a character, you go like, what am I going to draw? Same thing, you just take 2 things that you already know what they look like, and you put them together. So platypus lion. What's important about a platypus? You think about platypus. Just yell it out, it's fine. The beak. All right, so we got a beak, little duck beak kind of thing. Alright, we got a platypus. Okay, so we got the beak. Okay, what's important about a lion? When you think of a lion, what do you think? So you just kind of like make the 2 parts of them. And then you think about like what their attributes are. Like platypuses are kind of like they're kind of docile, they're little, you know, but a lion is kind of like ferocious creature. But if you give him little duck paws, so you come out of this thing in the wild, you're like, I don't know about this guy. And then you give a lion a duck-billed tail. I think it's like that, right? I'm not sure what noise they make, so we're just gonna say black. So you're just like breaking it apart. You're going like, here's the most important things. Like, how do I make that work? You go like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna need 2 people to come up on stage, like 2 special people. You jumping up with the white in the back. Come on up. And then I'll go with middle top row. You jumping right in the middle there. I can see you. Yeah, come on down. Come on down! you guys ready? Let's stand right here so everyone can see. Actually, why don't you guys go stand here and here? One of you, one of there? Okay, cool. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a monster, okay? I'm gonna show you kind of like a way, again, to like break your brain, reconstruct it, and you come up with a character. Okay, so, we're gonna start here. Oh, what's your guys' names?
Aubrey.
Aubrey? Daniel. Come on, guys. Thank you for being my mischief team. We're gonna get in some trouble. Okay, so, we start with a monster. Is this gonna be a mad monster or is it gonna be a happy monster? What do you think? A mad monster. All right, we're gonna find out why he's mad in a minute. I'm gonna try not to block everyone's view while I draw this. Okay, let me get that. I'm gonna give him a little head. Okay. All right. So this guy needs some arms now. Arms made of something. What are the arms made of? Jello. Perfect. So we got arms made of Jello. So you gotta think about Jello. It's kind of just like, sometimes it's got little squares in it because you made little things. So you go like, all right, what is a monster with Jello arms, day-to-day life like? It's probably very hard to grab stuff, but he's probably figuring it out, which is probably why he's kind of mad. Cool thing about Jello is it doesn't have to like have a structure, so you can just kind of like little wiggly arms. About Jello jiggler. Okay, so now he needs feet. He can't stand, he can't do things without feet, so like, what are his feet made of? Did you say Jello? Is that you? Or is that you said Jello? Me. That's you. Okay, what do you think his feet are made of? Was it? Noodles? Alright, we got noodle feet. And I think the main reason why he's mad is he's trying to support his whole body on noodles. And they're probably really tasty, so. Spaghetti. Okay. All right. So what do you think his hair is made of? What kind of hair does he have? What is it? Banana. All right. So he's got a banana hair. So he's a food-based monster. He's probably mad because everyone's trying to eat him, honestly. He's got, yeah. Maybe it's like peeled. He's trying to eat it one time. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're just creating a character out of like little things you can think of, and then you kind of build from there. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna do one more exercise that kind of shows off things. For this one, I'm just going to have you say things out. You don't need to come up here, just so you know, ahead of time. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a story in real time out of one page. And one more. We almost got it. Okay, so I'm going to need another animal. Okay. You right in the front of in the back of the front of the green shirt? Yeah. Yeah. A dolphin. Got it. Okay. So we have a dolphin. Hold it up. You gotta draw the dolphin first. Oh wait. You're gonna... All right. We got a dolphin. Okay. Okay, we got a dolphin. Now, where are we going to put the dolphin? Where's the dolphin living at? Okay? You're in front. He lives at an ice cream shop? Love it. Okay, so he's living at, how are we going to do this? Okay. There's the counter. Drawing like a counter, maybe the ice cream is right here. Doing these quickly, so we're just gonna, you get the gist. Here's the menu with all the ice cream on it. Okay, maybe a cool floor. With that like checkered floor. And maybe it's like a floating, ghost type one. Okay, so we have a dolphin. The dead dolphin lives or works? What do you think? He works. She thought of it, so he works and the thing. So he's going through the ice cream shop, and he's doing his work for the day. And he's running across, okay? And all of a sudden he sees something on the floor that he needs to jump over. What is he jumping over? A what? A giant laser. You gotta listen. You gotta cook those hot dogs somehow. Yeah, there's hot dogs there. I guess creme brulee. I don't know. What's hot, Anna? All right. And then. Yeah. We get some cool robotic stuff. All right, so we have a laser. Okay, so this dolphin lives in an ice cream shop, works at an ice cream shop. He's going along, he jumps over the laser, and then he realizes he's going to land on that laser if he doesn't, because he's not going fast enough. He's about to fall on top of that laser. Okay, but then he remembers that he packed a parachute that day for no reason whatsoever. He's good to go. He is good, but then he remembers he forgot to pack his parachute that day. What did he pack instead of a parachute? You at the very top of the white shirt, raising his hand. Kurt? I can't really tell from here. The very top, the right in the middle. A what? An umbrella? 5 umbrellas? 5 individual umbrellas. You never know how rainy it's going to be that day. 2. 5 umbrellas. 1, 2. Another one. And another one. Well, I mean, we'll just do this. It's no longer in the ice cream. There you go. Okay, so what you have here is you have a basic story structure. So we go, okay, who's our character? Our character's the dolphin. Where does he live? Where does he work? He works at the ice cream store. What is his problem? He's running along, his problem is the laser. He's gonna hit the laser. What is the solution? 5 individual umbrellas. Then he pulls out a thing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably hit it at one point. Okay, okay. Yeah, so you basically just you figure out what the problem is, or the person, the problem, and then the solution. That's a basic bedrock of a story. And then you can kind of start from there. And then you can kind of build out other things from there. Like, what's his best friend? What does he look like? You know, what are other hobbies he has? What's maybe a more complex part of the story and things like that. So it's really fun. Okay, do you guys have any questions from things that maybe I asked? Yeah. You ready? It's okay, don't worry about it. You. Have you heard what? She asked if I ever have an art block. Absolutely. Sometimes you're gonna have to work through these things because you're based off of deadlines and things like that. But I know that no matter what, I will always get through it. There's always. If you sit with something long enough, you'll figure it out. Maybe it won't even be your best thing right away, but just to keep working, it's nice to kind of just be like, okay, that's what that is. And if you just give yourself little tasks, like this part, you'll eventually get past everything. So, all right, let's go to the top. You at the far top to the left in the middle. Yeah, you. What's that? I used to use Photoshop. I used to draw everything by hand and then use Photoshop. Right now, I'm just using my iPad, mainly because I can do it anywhere. I can go to gymnastics practice with my daughter and then just working the thing. So it's great for being able to do it on the fly anywhere I go, as opposed to bringing out all my art equipment. But I still do classic marker drawings, stuff like that. So yeah, you're right there that everybody's pointing to.
Why did you draw a llama?
Why didn't I draw a llama? Because nobody said llama. I'm done with that part now. 10 minutes? Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna take like maybe 3 more questions, if that's okay? All right. Yeah, you right there, everybody's pointing to as well. How long does it take me to think of what I'm drawing? It really depends on what I'm drawing. Some things I've drawn before, so I'm like, I got this. Some stuff it's like, I don't know, like this one's gonna be a tough one. Like some stuff I don't like to draw, so I don't have a lot of like thought into it. Or some people ask me to draw like them as things that they love, and I don't know anything about that. They're like, draw me playing rugby, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means. So some stuff that takes a lot longer, it really just depends. So, maybe I'm just trying to skip around a little bit. You right there, also that your friend is pointing to? What drawing am I famous for? I'm famous for the book that I showed you probably the most. But I actually live here in Elyria, so I do a lot of, I've done like local art this entire time, so I kind of had like a building of that, then I kind of crescendo into what the book was, so. You up there in the middle? Yep.
Can we do another one, please?
You know what? Why not? Which one? Wait, hold on. Which one? Are we doing a llama? Are we good on time? Are we okay? We're good on time? We good on time? Okay. I'm a man of the people. I can't let you down. Like the mashup with a llama, or do you want to do a llama and story? I got all that. Okay. So wait, hold on. Yell if you want them to mash up. I don't need to go anymore, we're good. Okay, we'll do the mash up. Okay, so we have a llama, now we need another animal. What is it? A dragon llama. Okay. I'm gonna tilt it more towards you guys this time. Okay. So a llama has cool little ears, and then kind of like a. They're kind of like. They're kind of like a little bit like. I don't know. They're kind of. I guess they're just eating all the time. They don't really have a face. They're just eating face. Constant eating face. And then the long guy. And then we'll do a little pause here, and then maybe little talons. This is also a dragon. We can't forget the dragon part. But also llamas have the coolest, funniest build. Then I definitely got to give him a dragon tail. Good call. Good call. You know, the cool thing about going for kids is they kind of know what they want, and you guys definitely know that you won fire. would have a lot of fun for sure. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys' time. You guys are awesome. I hope you like rhythm drawing.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Okay, at this time we are going to give out our Illustrator Awards. So again, when your name is called, please come up on the stage and stand up and collect your awards and stand up on that orange line. I would like to introduce Georgianne Blair. She's a retired teacher from North Ridgeville, and she puts a lot of time and energy into this program, and she helps me out a lot with it. And she is a wonderful artist, and she's a wonderful friend. So I would like to have you all give her a big round of applause.
First of all, I want to say what a wonderful audience you've been. I know because I've taught all of your grade levels, it's hard to sit this long in a chair and not want to get up and do something. So I appreciate all of you, including the ones way in the top that have been working very hard to be noticed. So thank you, everybody. First of all, I want to explain that I have been one of the judges from the very beginning for Young Illustrators, which was started through the ESC as part of the Young Authors program. So I'm one of the original judges, and I believe in the program, I believe in the Young Authors program and the gifted, and that's who I work with. I volunteer now. I don't get paid. I just stay home and enjoy myself, and when they call and need me, I go and I do my job. So whenever you have a chance to volunteer, believe me, it will put a little smile in your heart to be able to do that. We follow a rubric, the judges do, as they do for young authors. We follow a rubric and we judge based on what you should already know from your art classes. So it's nothing unusual. It's the same thing your art teachers would have taught you. So when I talk about the winning book, I'm going to use some of those words in my description. So even though you were the author that wrote the book and illustrated the book, I judge only the illustration. But because you wrote the book and illustrated, I have to now interpret with words to tell you what we found amazing about the winning book. So it's kind of like a full circle, even though I'm not a writer. But I enjoy doing that when I can. So I'm going to start with grade 3. So when I call your name, you're supposed to stand on the vibrant orange line up here. First, I'm going to call off the names of the books that were submitted for Young Illustrator. From Columbia, Gabrielle Awada for the book The Discovery. From Elyria, Elwyn Putka for the book The Orphan Raised by Witches. From Firelands, Corey Vayok for the book The Girl Who Cried Wolf. From Lorain, Hunter Wright for the book The Red Hat. From Midview, Forrest Shoemaker for the book The Mythical Challenge. And from St. Peter and Lorain, Annalise Cordy for the book The Mean Dog Learns Glasses. And I must say, I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name. I don't mean to offend anyone. I have a very unusual first name, and no one can ever spell it right the first time, and a lot of people can't pronounce it, so I am very sympathetic. So, I'm going to now read a little bit of the description. The stage is set for the story once the illustrator carefully designs colorful settings using various perspectives that combine roads, lawns, sidewalks, and sky, helps to define the characters' actions in each setting. Colored pencil was the art media chosen for the illustrations. Details refined both characters and settings. The characters can be seen in close-up or in three-quarter views that further emphasize the importance of words spoken on the pages. Every page offers an illustration, and that really is unusual. By doing this, the illustrator helps explain the story that asks, what happens when being spoiled has a negative consequence? I hope you have a chance to read this book to find the solution. Congratulations to the young illustrator, Annalise Cordy, for the book. Mrs. Chelsea Yates at St. Peter's in Lorain.
All right, awesome job, guys.
Next is grade 4, young illustrators. And the entry books are from Columbia, Magnolia Robinson for the book Port Diaries. From Elyria, Graceling Gracia for the book The Young and Fierce. From Firelings, Caden Stillman for the book Rex and the Fun Adventures. From Lorain, Lana Thompson for the book Nightmares Die. From Midview, Haley Barney for the book Daisy the Flower Queen. From North Ridgeville, Brogan Comerford for the book The Abandoned Iceland. From Sheffield Lake, Alana Casey for the book Back on the Field. And last, from St. Peter and Lorain, Ariana Myers for the book The Mermaid's Quest. Okay, let's see if you can guess who this is. One more to go. In rapid succession, the main character in this story experiences travels and adventures one after the other, resulting in total exhaustion. Oh, to return to a normal life. The illustrator of this book fills our eyes with colorful, action-packed illustrations. Many are full-page gems. Each illustration appears to first begin with cutting and gluing construction paper, then adding marker details to define each illustration. These separate works of art appear to be photographed next. These new photos are then cut and glued to the proper book pages to tell the story. This lengthy process results in pages of three-dimensional effects on the eyes. Adding to the uniqueness of this illustrative technique is the use of origami in the illustrations. This book is filled with creative thought and planning, which adds to its uniqueness. Additionally, construction paper free-form shapes, as seen in the photographed illustrations, are glued to the actual white book pages, adding to the feeling of visual continuity throughout the book. Congratulations to the young illustrator, Caden Stillman. Okay, on with 5th grade. The books. The first one from Columbia, Jackson Calhorne, for the book A Journey Through Ireland's Kiera Grant for the book From Lorain, Demarion Winborn for the book The Dragons of Randalia, Book 1. From Midview, Kendall Ellison for the book Taylor the Tamarin Travels Panama. From Sheffield Lake, Jillian Polly for the book Cat Catastrophe. And finally, from St. Peter, Lorain, Amory McKinney for the book Doll. Take a journey into this colorful book filled with brilliant illustrations using marker, crayon, and pencil. No matter the season, geographic region, or experience featured on the pages, readers are drawn into this guide filled with detailed illustrations. The cute main character is enchanting, as is the land where it lives, following the winding lines of various colors as it travels across page to page, helping readers enjoy the flow of the story. This book never lacks of visual interest on every page. Grab your hat and grab your suitcase. You might be shouting, "I want to go there." Congratulations to the winning illustrator, Kaylin Ellison, for the book titled Taylor the Tamarin Travels Panama, Grade 5. This is the next senior class in review. Okay, grade 6. From Columbia, Helena Sears for the book The Case of the Robinson Mansion. From Elyria, Isabella Alberti for the book The Hollow Land. From Lorain, Camilla Ortiz Matos for the book Larry's and Gary's Grand Adventure. From Midview, Marlena Shilby for the book The Emotions. From Oberlin, Christina Friedenstein for the book The Endless Ocean. And from Sheffield Lake, Natalie Brown for the book Spit It Out. From page 1 of this book, this enchanting story is a flurry of action captured in pencil illustrations. Using a simple drawing pencil, the characters are brought to life as the artist applies the value scale and texture details, whether for skin tones, hair, or folds of clothing. From head to toe, each is unique. Whether land or sea, the pencil illustrations feature depth through the use of perspective to define spaces. Many illustrations can be seen framed on pages in decorative squares or rectangles with written words included to capture the moment on the page. This is a unique book because it shows how to actually use a single art medium, that is a simple pencil, to illustrate an action-packed story. Congratulations to the winning young illustrator, Christina Friedman. Endless Ocean of Photographer's Odyssey, Grade 6, Ms. Rachel Mincer's class in Oberlin. Thank you, young authors, and best wishes to you all. And thank you, teachers.